Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Lincoln and today's the 24th, which we're going to make a beetle today. Now I didn't get really detailed on this. It's mainly because I want to show you guys how to use the new posing features and how you can articulate the legs with it. It's super cool and really easy to do. And the other thing is how to mirror properly when you have something articulated like that in the new menu system. Alright, I'm going to put up the rest of the prompt list now. Hey everyone, remember this sculpting challenge is all about learning new tools and techniques, and today is no different. We're going to go through a lot of information in the menu system. I'm going to show you how to organize everything and how to put everything together for each leg and each mirror, so it's not too terribly confusing, hopefully. Okay, let's grab your iPad or other device, and let's go make a beetle. Alright, so it's pretty crazy. There's going to be 2 videos in a row. I'm going to use the default sphere. So we're going to click on the front. I'm going to grab the select mask, and we're going to use a rectangle and just grab this. I'm going to tap on it, blur the mask. I'm going to make sure that in this menu I have that unchecked. Alright, grab the gizmo and just drag it down. I'm going to go out a little bit longer and enlarge it. You don't want to get too crazy with it because you get that line, but if you do it just a little bit, you'll get a nice and even thing going on there. So let's use a gizmo. That's good. Go to the right. Go to the mask. If you click and drag out here, it'll clear it for you. Or alternatively, you can go in here and clear right there. All right, gizmo. Squeeze it down, and that looks good. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just making kind of a crazy looking beetle thing. I'm going to clone this one, bring it up, and just to make it quick and fast and simple, we're going to leave this fairly cartoony-ish still. Alright, so there we go. We'll do it one more time for the clone to make the head narrow. Whoops, not that one, this one. Make it really narrow. That's kind of long. Alright, something like that. Just make it narrower. Okay, so the first thing on we're on the front, so I'm going to come in here and first I'm going to grab all these and use the snap and just flip it down. So I want top view like this, and doesn't really matter for front or back. I guess I could flip that to the front so we're head facing. Okay, not terribly important. Now the hierarchy, if you guys haven't played with this at all, it's really cool. So first, I'm going to label these and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've got them labeled, I'm going to pin it because we're going to show you a few things. I'm going to come to the side. Now, normally when we wanted to pose things before, you had to, whoops, turn off snapping. You had to pose and then grab this one and pose and then bring this one down to it and all that. Well, we don't have to do that anymore. It's super cool. So we'll leave the abdomen as the main thing, and the first thing I'm going to do is fix all our pivots. So this one, I'm just going to bring the pivot to the center. We'll call that good. The thorax, I'm going to, whoops. Let's try that again. Thorax, hit the pivot. Bring it back and we'll just pivot it right there in the body. We'll call that good. And then the head, same thing, tap the pivot and pivot it right on that line. Okay, so if this is the main thing we want to always bring everything to, which we do, the thorax we'll just drag down. You can drag it wherever you want, but you want to connect it there. Now the next one, if the head, if you do it here, you're going to have a problem because you can move this one, and if you move this one, it doesn't do it together. So what you want to do is grab the head and bring it to the thorax in a stair step like this. Now we bring this one and we grab this one. They all go together, and that's really cool. So that's kind of like the basics of posing. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is make a quick leg. And we'll do the same thing, and I'll show you how to mirror too, because the mirroring's a little off. There's one checkbox you got to make sure you're hitting. All right, so I'm just going to grab a tube, because just because the tube is super easy. I'm going to drag this way up here too. Because the tube is super easy to adjust and tweak without having to use move tools and sculpting tools. So I'll use the path, so it just drag a straight line. Come up here and hit the radius twice. And that gives us the option of adding a couple more. We can shrink it down, enlarge it, which I'm going to make it a little enlarged, and we'll make him a little, make this guy a little goofy-ish and cartoony. Alright, so that looks pretty good right there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and validate him, subdivide it, validate it. I'm going to come to the side and give it a squeeze, and you can squeeze this down before if you want, that doesn't matter, but afterwards is fine too. Squeeze it down kind of like that. Looks good. Like I said, it makes a quick, easy thing really fast. Now we're going to grab the move tool. I'm going to grab him and pull him over here so I can find it easy. And this has just the regular stuff on it. There's nothing weird. And we'll just give him a little bit more shape. Like I said, I'm not getting too crazy with this, being terribly accurate. This is just more about showing you guys how to use all the posing features. Okay, so that's good. Now the cool thing about this is we can just clone him and bring him over, shrink him down because it's the middle leg, middle portion of the leg, however you say it. I'm sure there's some people out there that know bug terminology better than I do. Let's see, I'll stretch that out a little bit. Now, one other thing real quick, you'll see you have the outline on there. It makes it a lot easier to adjust your pivots because you can see it on the inside if you want to move your pivot to a different spot. I'm going to put it right there probably, which somewhere between the middle and the bottom is where you want your stuff to pivot most of the time. I mean, it could be, you know, kind of right in there. It'll be fine. Check the pivot. This one, I'm going to do the same thing. Move the pivot over. And put it right there is good enough. Reset your pivot. All right, now for the sake of time, for the third portion, I'm just going to kind of make, I'll go ahead and clone this again, but I'm not going to do usually these have like multiple portions in them. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to shrink it down and just bend it a little bit and call it good for this tutorial. Now you notice when you clone it, your pivot points in the same spot, which is really nice. All right, grab the move tool, make it much bigger, and just gonna, maybe not that big, needs to be a smaller. Just gonna make the, kind of flatten this out and make the little foot, and that will be fine. Thing I'll do is maybe stretch it a little bit if I can get it to stretch without messing it up too bad. And that'll be good enough for a little cartoony guy. And we'll call that little guy done, and that's good enough. Okay, so to bring these up, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to, same thing on this one. I'm going to label these real quick. Now you notice since I added the tube and I had something up here selected, it put them all in together. So I'm going to just grab all three of these and pull them, and now they're separate. Now, same thing with these. We're going to grab each one and put it up, and it needs to be the stair step. Remember the stair step if you want them to articulate properly. If you have them in a straight line, it won't. There'll still be, you'll be able to grab them all at the same time, but they'll still articulate separately. Okay, so I'm going to label these and I'll be back. Okay, so now that we have those guys, now we can grab one and start moving things around. Oops, not with that though. Let's grab this one. Okay, I'm going to grab him and bring it down. Still grabbing the wrong ones. There we go. This is so much easier than having to do it individually. Okay, I'm going to grab this and rotate the whole thing down. Maybe not quite that much. There we go. Now, I know normally the beetle legs kind of start from underneath the beetle, but we're just going to do it in the side today just to keep it simple. All right, now, the next thing, you can close this up. Now, if you have this closed up, you'll see you have this new menu item right here, just telling you that you have several things in there. So if you close it and click on it, now you have them all selected. So you can still use the instance or a clone. It's just a little bit different. The uninstance, you can break things apart. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. All right, so we're going to make another instance of this one. And this one I'm going to go ahead and shrink down because it's the front leg. And these two can probably be about the same size. This one could maybe be a touch bigger if you want. It's really up to you. Okay, now I want to show you how to mirror things because that's a lot different now. So we have all these. We need to select all of these. Make sure you have it all selected. Okay, to mirror, you're going to come up here and add the mirror. This is where it's at now. It's in the add on the plus button and these repeaters. Hit mirror. Now you have a mirror. Now the only thing is if you leave it just like this, if you move one, you move them both. And if you want to be able to pose them separate, you need to hit validate. Now the thing with this is it'll be default checked, and if you do that, I'll show you what happens, which is not a good thing. You have it all one piece now, and it's one thing. There's nothing you can do with it. So don't do that. So instead, when you go to validate, unclick join children, hit yes, and now it'll turn blue. And if you open it up, you'll have two separate legs. So if you unclick that, you can click on here and you've got that leg, or you can click on these and you have this leg. All right. So alternatively, you can click on those like that. So anyway, that's how you mirror and how you have it separate. So you can move this one around, or you can click on this one instead, and you can move him around. All right, so I'm going to mirror the other two, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. So simple as that. Hey, just remember, don't hit that join children, or it's going to be a mirrored object that you can't individually articulate if you want. Okay, so I'm going to pose this a bit, but the one thing you want to do is make sure that you've got these all separate. So if you depending on which one you click on, if I click on this one, I'm good. I can pose him a little bit, but it has these blue ones. Now, if you do that, it's going to grab them both. If you don't want to do that all the time, it's simple. You can literally unclick these and you can delete that hierarchy and get rid of that grouping, because it's just a group. So then it's a lot easier to deal with and pose if you just want to pose that one particular one. Same thing over here, you can pose this one now. Okay, so those blue ones, it's another grouping thing that you can group everything together if you like. If you don't want them, just get rid of them. The main thing though is make sure you open it up and don't delete everything, because if you delete that whole thing, everything that was underneath and connected to it, the hierarchy is gone. Alright, so for these, I'm going to fix the pivot because the pivot's kind of all screwy on these, and I should have fixed that beforehand, but I didn't. So we will fix that now. Okay, so the next thing, I'm just going to throw some eyes and pinchers on this thing. So the big thing is make sure that you have what you want selected to where you want to add something. So if I add spears in now to put the eyes on, it's going to connect to the abdomen. So you want to click on the head, and then we'll add the spheres for the eyes. So if you don't do that, you'll end up, I mean, you can still get them, but they'll just be in the wrong spot, and you're just going to move them. So not a huge deal, just so you know where they're at and where to get them. So here we'll just put them give them some bug eyes. Okay, so now that we have one, we've got to attach the head. Let's bring it up, bring it right to the head. You can't see it, it's moving because the yellow is moving, but it's not moving the whole thing. So if we grab the head, there we go. So it's all connected like it should be. So let's grab this one and add a mirror. We'll validate it, and remember, don't join the children. Click on it. So if we grab the head, let's see if this is working properly. And there we go. So you have that together, and you'll see that blue up there for the group. So if you click on that, you have all these. Now that blue, that one, remember, you can get rid of that if you want. You can leave it or not. It just depends on how you want it to be. But if you have it clicked on that, it's just going to move the two eyes by itself. Or you click on the head, and then it's all together. Okay, so before we get too crazy posing it, I'm going to put it back to center, and I'll put a pincher on him real quick just to have him so he's got one. So I'm going to close these all up. So I'm just going to do the path, quick pincer, let's add center one. And I'll call that good. I'm going to grab the gizmo and just increase the size, but then shrink it this way. And that should be a pretty decent little pincher, mouth pincher. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and subdivide it, validate it. Alright, so let's see where we're at. So it's still in here, so all you have to do is just grab it and pull it up. Or you can bring it down, because it's you want it to be attached to the head as well. So let's bring it down here and attach it to the head. So you can attach it right there if you want, because it'll still be attached to the head, but it's not attached to the eyes, so you can still move these if you want. But you want to affect the tube. If you want them all those to be together, then you would drag it down here, and then if you grab them, you grab this one, it will grab all those together. So it just depends on how you want to put everything. So we'll just put it with the head, just like that. Oops. You open that one up so it'll stay open. What is going on? Oh, it's because I have these all selected. That's what's going on. Okay, so grab the head just like that. Alright, so now what I'll do is mirror this one again. Mirror, and there we have our mirror. Validate it, confirm. Okay, so that's pretty much it right there. I'm just going to do a real quick paint on it. I will do on the body just to have a little detail on this guy. I'm going to do a masking on him. And turn that off. Oops. Turn that off. Select mask. Lasso. We'll do symmetry. And I don't know. Oh, I have the whole thing selected. So let's go select mask. Front facing. Top. Okay, so new gizmo. That's perfect. Just like I want. Alright, and then click top one more time, leave symmetry on. mask. There we go. All right, tap on this to blur it. And that's probably all right. Extract it. There we go. So now I can do a couple different colors, and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, that's it. Just really simple and basic. I just left this kind of cartoony. I'm going to detail this later for the scene at the end of the week a little bit probably, but this tutorial is mainly just showing you how to use the menu to pose with. Alright, if you guys are enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Alright, thanks.